A cloth map, and you know what that means, a fantasy RPG. Perhaps there are some science fiction or cyberpunk RPGs that have a cloth map, but I don't own any of them. Anyway, let me know if you do. This map, of course, belongs to Dolmenwood, and yes, every few years I go mad, back a big fantasy RPG that I will struggle to ever get to the table. And I hadn't really been following Dolmenwood, the development of which I understand was pretty extensive, but I did get caught up with the Kickstarter excitement, and then a few weeks ago ended up with this. Now, as you can see, there's a ton I could talk about here. The core rules in their giant box are just a slab of game all on their own. And there's quite a bit to discuss with how the books handle all the old high fantasy tropes. There are these little adventure scenarios in small hardbacks, which are delightful. I haven't seen anything quite like this before. The storybook production comes with that sort of whiff of nostalgia for things that never were. And they really are lovely pieces of work, filled with maps again. And perhaps we'll get into those in the coming year. The main books give you more than enough to be getting on with, of course. They're filled with more maps and details of the world for you to run a campaign in. The player book is a gem. I've been dipping into it to read as the nights draw longer. And the monster book has some real highlights. Particularly relevant to the season is the Scarecrow, whose alignment and behaviour is dictated by the season. So they're cheery and helpful in the spring and the summer, and miserable and solitary in the winter, and then straight up murderous killers in the autumn. I love the idea of running a campaign with the Scarecrow as a regular character and watching his emotional progress over the year. Anyway, what I was going to focus on for this video was a single book, the Maps book for Dolmenwood. Now, I have a bunch of map books and atlases, as you might expect, but I think this one stands out as a sort of unique treatment. Firstly, because it has several different types of maps. The settlements are done in this beautiful storybook style with a scale that allows you to place it on the table, have your characters explore that location. And I love how this is done and hasn't wavered on the storybook aesthetic at any point. But it's the rest of the book that I found most striking, in that it's the same map of the wood itself, but divided up into different categories, which annotates the map accordingly. So you get to see where there are the fairy doors and fairy roads and their dominions. You get the regions outlined for you, the locations of the settlements, major NPCs, sources of healing, god shrines. And so you can just see how invaluable this is going to be for the GM. And at least on my initial skim, I think this might be the best bit of the Dolmenwood package. It means I can lay out my table in front of the adventurers, which sort of gives them their, understanding of the world, lays it out in front of them. Here's the wood. Here are the key elements. But you also have this tome of additional knowledge as to what is where and how they might encounter it. And you can just see how that's going to provide hooks for adventures. And the last few years, I've been playing games that mostly haven't really dwelt hard on the map aspects of TTRPG things. This makes me want to change course just so I can make use of it. And I think that is a pretty respectable achievement for any RPG book.